All right, if you ever want to figure out if your Lamborghini has a mileage stopper in it, I looked it up. You hold this button here for 6 seconds and the flashers are going to go off. Now the odometer down here isn't going to record anymore. So if you do that in somebody's Lambo and you hold this button for 6 seconds and those blink, that guy's a scumbag. And you can just look at him and say, I know what you're doing.
All right, guys, before we get to today's video, quick shout out to my own company, Adventure Drive. So we do these driving events all over the world. 2023 is no exception. We've got 3 trips coming up. One from Washington, D.C. to Nashville. This is from April 26th to the 30th. Then in July, we're doing a trip to Italy, which is going to be phenomenal. It's all northern Italy, starting and ending in Rome. You're going to love that one. And if you can't make it overseas or to the East Coast trip, you've got plenty of runway for the September 20th to 25th drive, starting in Napa Valley and ending in Las Vegas. That's going to be a great trip as well. Check them out. I put a link right below in the description of every video. Hope to see you out there. All right, you've heard me talk about it in the past, and rolling back cars is a problem. A lot of people do it to avoid the depreciation expense on their car so they can go sell their exotic car, their sports car as a new car or a newer car than it actually is. They're misrepresenting it, and there are ways to try to sift your way through it and see what issues exist, what issues aren't there. And is it foolproof? No, but being in the exotic car rental space for 20 years, I've been able to see plenty of exotic cars, plenty of sports cars over the years with varying degrees of wear based on obviously the mileage that is applied to those cars. Now, I've had cars that I bought that I'm like, hey, you know what? I think I bought a rollback. And that's from me, who knows what he's looking for. There's a lot of stuff people do to conceal the mileage, and one of them is the mileage stoppers. I've mentioned this in the past. It's very detrimental to my industry because it doesn't put the two companies on a fair playing field. You got one guy who's not having a depreciation expense where the other guy is. And those are the guys that can offer unlimited mile rentals and all sorts of other stuff. It always plays out the same way. Don't worry about the mileage, or the gauge cluster's not working, but don't worry about it, mileage is included. Stuff like that happens all the time in the space, and most people don't care. They're getting what looks like a brand new car with virtually no miles on it, and they don't even think to check the odometer to see if anything's going on. However, it's a federal crime. Now, I did an event last year that needed a couple of exotic cars, and it was all Huracans. They needed, I think, like 10 Huracan Spiders or Huracans. And I didn't have 10. So I sourced from other companies. And when I did it, I got this one car that I saw. I'm like, this car does not feel like a 2,000 or 3,000 mile car, whatever the odometer says on it. So I'm driving along. I call Shivam. I'm like, Shivam, can you look up this super kilometer filter thing and tell me how to activate it? Because I'm pretty sure they have instructions on how to activate it on each model car. So when you buy it, you can be like, oh, cool, that's how I do it. He did it. I try it out, and boom, my gut was right. Here you go.
So here's another problem you have with rollback cars or cars that you have mileage stoppers on. This car, I looked at the registration, is now 9 months old, and it's got 2,000 miles on it. So the guy's been renting it for 9 months. It's got 2,000 miles on it. You have to ignore all the little problems until the mileage gets up there where you can bring it back to the dealership and it's not suspicious. It's like, well, why does it have all these problems at 2,000 miles? I just happen to notice these. One of the problems is this window doesn't like going up, right? So last night I put the thing up 5 or 6 times. It goes up a little bit, goes back down, goes up. So it means it's binding somewhere. It's a issue Lamborghini would fix gladly. You bring it in, they're done in an hour. But now you just live with it and you deal with it. So I put the window up while the door is open, and then I close the door. But this didn't close all the way for whatever reason. You know, sometimes it bumps down so it doesn't break when you open the door. So when it rained last night, my Lambo got a little water inside because I was like, oh, yep, look, there's some driplets here. I already dried off the seat with this tissue here. So it was just a touch down there. Nothing crazy, but right here, there's water droplets in the speaker grill. But this is not something that should be happening to your car. You shouldn't be getting water inside your car when it rains. But you're doing that because you're ignoring problems and you're more concerned about mileage and not losing money on it than actually taking care of the vehicle. So just other side effects. And the biggest problem you're running into is that other people are going to buy cars, and everyone, like with Uruses. So you know how many people roll back Uruses and stop mileage on Uruses? People are going to say like, wow, these cars really suck. They're braking a lot at like 5 or 10,000 miles when they're not. They're just not maintained and they have 40,000 miles on them. So that's a big disservice to both Lamborghini, the manufacturers, and everybody that's buying these cars. You're screwing them with all these big maintenance bills that they shouldn't have because you take care of the cars. It's effectively why this is illegal. You can't do that. Now, I'm not giving you the VIN number or anything for the car. I'm not going to blow the guy's spot up, but it is sort of BS that you do stuff like that. So, just another side effect of mileage stoppers. Visualized, right? You're visualizing what's wrong with mileage stoppers other than, what's the big deal? I don't like having a lot of miles on my car. This is the problem. So, just to prove a point, I'm going to go 8.4 miles to Petrolworks Performance in Lindenhurst.
Head south toward New York.
It's actually 12 miles of driving, and that will not read more than 2,110, maybe 11. I gotta see if I turned it on or turned it off. So, watch this. I'm gonna transport this car, and not really sacrifice much, but you'll see. If you would hear the rattle in this car, like nobody would ever believe, or at least any competent person wouldn't be able to believe, that it has so few miles on it. Those rattles. What you probably can't hear very well is there's a wheel bearing noise, probably from the right rear. So the front right wheel bearing, when you load the front, I was going through a little bit of into an incline, and when you load up the front right, you get a very, very loud, like, rotational noise, which means it's probably the wheel bearing in the front right is bad too. Which is amazing for such, I mean, I don't know how many miles could actually be on it, but it's amazing for even a 15,000 mile car to have that much issues. But let's see if I can hear that. Get the rattle in the back. Suspension. This car may have been in an accident too. And then there's an engine tick. But as I said, still at 2110, and we're only 3.8 miles away from our 14 mile and 12 mile drive. So I'm going to turn the thing back on. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now it's going to start recording mileage again. I should have about 2,100. Yep, there you go. That just ticked over to 11. I should be at 14 by the time I get there. Dirty. So all 5 of these issues: the window, the engine tick, the wheel bearing, and then the rattles back there, and the suspension rattle in the front, would all be addressed if they actually admitted to having whatever 13,000 miles on it, or whatever's actually on this thing. And the biggest problem with this is that you don't even know how many miles are on it, because when you're renting it, somebody may put 1,000 miles on it in the weekend, and you have no idea, but nor do you care, because it doesn't cost you any money. So, alright, we're pulling up to Petrolworks, as I said, coming in right here at 2,113-ish, or 1,114 miles, which is what happens when you turn the odometer on. Let's go check it. Petrol Works and check on my Supras, because I got 2 Supras here right now, so we'll see how they're doing and when that build is going to be going, and we'll get into that in another video. Oh, he's right next to Art of Wrath, huh? I know Seth Rose. I didn't know they were so close. I gotta go say hi to Seth.
So is there a fix for this? Yeah, I mean, the fix is people shouldn't be doing it. That company should be out of business. There is no business on this planet that should be selling something that is effectively creating an illegal outcome, right? There's no valid reason for you to have something that stops the odometer on your car, ever. Just like it's pure illegal. It's the same thing. Rolling back, everyone's, oh, rolling back. I had different size tires on it. I want to readjust it. You can put a sticker on the door. However, stopping the odometer intermittently, being able to turn it on and off, being able to make it read at 10% of what it actually is all 100% fraud. That company should be out of business. Germany should be like, hey, 9 and like not let them do that. But you know what? They do. And it still exists. A lot of people use it, unfortunately. It's not fair, but there's only one way to stop it. And this is how you get a free rental. You go to a company, you look up how to use on the car that you're using, and if you could turn off that odometer, you know you've got that guy. You could be like, hey, I just want to let you know, I figured out that your car has an odometer stopper on it. It's very illegal. I just want to alert you to that. I think it would be nice if you maybe gave me a finder's fee for alerting you to that, so you're aware of that on your car and you can remove it. A finder's fee of not charging me for this rental. If not, it's all right. I'll go see, maybe the cops have a reward for doing that. And I promise you, good chance you're going to get a free rental. The guy might not be happy about it. You probably walk away with a free rental. But it's more common than you think. If you're renting from these shady companies, it's a felony. Like, there's no doubt about it. You record that, you give it to the cops, the guy gets arrested. So in this case, I didn't want to deal with it. I just returned the car, went back about my day. But at the end of the day, that is something that's concerning. It's something that I have to battle in the industry. It's something that other legitimate companies have to battle. And a legitimate company's never going to have these stoppers on their car, so they're never going to have a problem with you calling their bluff. But these guys, these fly-by-night guys that are coming up, I mean, not essentially the most savory guys you're going to run into, but it's worth a try. If you're going to deal with them, you might as well try to get your rental for free if you find out they're using the odometer stoppers. Or who knows, you may be their best customer, because you can say, I'll give you $300 to use your car next time, and you can go put 1,000 miles on it for $300. Whatever your pleasure is, all exists there. Rob Ferretti, thank you for watching. Just a little way to look out for yourself when you're renting a car and the condition doesn't seem quite in line with the mileage on the odometer. Is probably a good reason for it.